We're back again in our series on literary devices. Remember, literary devices are the terms we need to know to be able to study and analyze literature. So our first Roman numeral was plot, and we looked at the 5 parts of an American short story plot structure: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Then we looked at the 2 different kinds of conflict. We looked at external conflict first, which could be man versus man or group, could be man versus nature, and one version of that would be man versus animal. And then the third type was man versus thing or condition. And we also looked at internal conflicts, which were conflicts that happen within a person, within their heart or within their mind. They could be ethical issues. They could be brokenness or sorrow. Those would be internal conflicts. Our third category and our third Roman numeral is timing of story events. Now these I think you'll be fairly familiar with. We have sequence, which is the order in which story events take place. We've talked about this in terms of chronological order, something that you've been asked to do since probably first, second grade, when you were asked to put the events in the order in which they happened. Then we have flashback, which is an action that interrupts a story to introduce an event that took place in the past. Flash forward, an action that jumps ahead of a story to narrate an event that happens at a later time. A lot of times we have flash forwards in fantasy and sci-fi when we have people jumping around in different time periods. And our last term that you need to know for timing of story events is a foreshadowing, which are hints in the story that certain events are going to happen later. So the 4 terms that you need to know and to understand and be able to identify within a story are sequence, flashback, flash forward, and foreshadowing. Our 4th Roman numeral is the feeling of a story. And in this one, there's 4 different things we're talking about. So you have setting, which is the time and place something takes place. The atmosphere, or the vibes, the feeling brought on by the story setting. For instance, when we did The Most Dangerous Game, it starts out and it's kind of a creepy, foggy night in the Caribbean, and it's very hot, it's dark, and you're hearing noises, gunshots, and they're traveling by Ship Trap Island. So all that kind of builds an atmosphere that, because of the setting, that you know something scary is going to happen. Then we have tone. Tone is the writer's attitude toward a subject or a character or toward the audience. And the last one is mood, which is the overall feeling or atmosphere of a work of literature. Mood is created by the author's choice of words, which is called diction, by different figures of speech that the author uses, like similes and metaphors and personifications are the most common, and then of course the setting, which is the time and place of a story. So most often you will be asked to identify the mood of the story because it kind of fits everything else into it. But the terms you need to know when we look at the feeling of a story are setting, atmosphere, tone, and mood. Okay, so now there's a few questions to do in your response to your notes. Make sure you are using your notes as you answer them, because I create the questions as I'm looking at your notes. So if you look at your notes when you answer them, you should easily get them right. I will see you in class, and we'll continue to talk about the timing of the story and the feeling of the story.